Welcome to 843 TV. Today our show brings us to Friends of Caroline Hospice located in Port Royal. We're going to be learning about all the special services they provide to folks in need of hospice care. Joining us today is the team from the organization, Dr. Gordon Kruger, who is the medical director. Also we have Linnell Fabian, she's the director of community engagement, and also Sharonda Clark, who is the office manager and has been with the organization over 20 years. So stick around for this episode of 843 TV, where communities come to speak.
.843 TV, where the Low Country comes to speak.
Where Bluffton comes to speak.
Where Hilton Head Island comes to speak.
Where Beaufort comes to speak.
.843 TV,
where communities come to speak. Welcome to 843 TV. We are here at the Friends of Caroline Hospice, which is located in beautiful Port Royal, South Carolina. And we're in this really cozy spot here in this beautiful garden. And here to share with us today is Dr. Kruger, Linnell Fabian, and Sharonda Clark. Thank you all for coming out and having us out today.
Well, thank you for having us.
We're going to be learning so much about what you all do and about the hospice care in general over the next couple of segments. So let's talk about Friends of Caroline first. Maybe Dr. Kruger, you can start us off. Tell us about the history, how it was formed, and those interesting facts we'd like to know.
Well, I think that's very important to the clientele and the people that are listening to understand that hospice in the United States is relatively a new form of medical care. It's probably about 80 years old. It was initially established in England and brought to the Northeast, and then it's migrated down the coast here to Port Royal. And I think Linnell may tell us more later about how it started with a young lady and her friends, Friends of Caroline, that started the hospice. And the idea of the hospice is to provide quality, dignified, loving care and pain control for those who are at the end of their life with a chronic severe illness that's just not going to get better with medical management.
And I think too there might be a common idea that hospice is for elderly folks, and that typically is the case, but in fact it's not always the case because these illnesses can strike at any age. So who would like to share with us a little bit about that and maybe why it is called Friends of Caroline? How about Caroline's story?
Okay, so Caroline Kwan was a young woman in her late 20s who had cancer, and she did not want to be in a hospital. She didn't want to die in a hospital. So her friends, some people from her church, got together and arranged for her to be able to go home, and they cared for her so she could have some dignity and be in her comfortable space when the time came. And that's where Friends of Caroline came from, and that's how we got started. And so, as we all know, certain illnesses can strike at any age, and we have patients of all ages, and we work hard to help them and their caregivers.
So then share with us a little bit about the process that you all go about in helping patients or potential patients or clients. Who would like to share with us about where does somebody start?
Well, normally they will call in. You don't need to have a referral. You can just call in and just give us a little history of your problem. And then we have our fabulous medical director, and he will come out with the nurse, and they will make an assessment. And we have a whole team. We have the nurse, we have the CNA, we have a chaplain, and we have the volunteer coordinator, we have a social worker. So we can help with a plethora of problems. We have a fabulous social worker. You know, if you have internal problems, she will find resources out there to kind of help out. So normally that's how it starts. The nurse will go out and make an assessment. Dr. Kruger will go out and assess it, and we go from there. And the nurse coordinator will set it all up, and we go from there.
It's as Sharonda has indicated, it takes a team to handle all the details that need to be humanely and carefully handled at this stage. Part of what we're also working with, though, is that to get that first call in is the normal human nature of denial.
Yes.
Yes.
And everyone has a degree of denial. And everyone has, maybe if they have a problem, just a little bit of dementia or a little bit of a spreading cancer. And it is always going to be controlled with aggressive medical management. Well, that's not the case. And it's hard, though, for the families and for the patient to say, well, let's get another opinion in terms of what we have to offer ourselves going down the road. Since this is such a young modality for medical care in the United States, a lot of the doctors, some of them not much older than me, but have never really been trained on how to handle a dying patient or one with a severe chronic illness. And that's why they're slow to refer from a medical standpoint, and it makes them feel like they are a failure to their patient if they have to discuss with them that there's nothing further that can be done, whether it's congestive failure, kidney disease, liver disease. So there's always room for a discussion, and part of what we are really driving at wanting to talk like this is to get people to feel at home to call and have a discussion. It doesn't mean that they're surrendering, it doesn't mean that they're giving up, but they're getting more aware of their options.
Right. So taking that first step is a huge part of the process for the caregiver or for the patient themselves.
Yeah.
Now you offer all these services at no cost. Very important, and that in itself should be a comfort to those who are maybe pondering calling or maybe in denial, as you say. So how do you operate? How do you fund things?
Well, when
Well, we have a thrift store that operates year-long.
Love those thrift stores.
Yes.
Those are the greatest things.
It's located on Repo Road. We take donations and the proceeds go to our services. And we have a few events every year. Upcoming, we have the Festival of Trees, which will be in December. We have a barbecue event, Bands, Brews, and Barbecue in February. And we also have a fashion show in April.
We're going to talk a little bit about the Festival of Trees and some of those events in a later segment. So you all stay right here. We'll be back with more 843 TV here at Friends of Caroline. Welcome back to 843 TV. We are here at the Friends of Caroline, which is in Port Royal, and it's a beautiful spot. It's so nice. We're in this lovely garden this morning, and we're learning all about what you all do to help those who are in need of hospice care. And there are some things that set you all apart from the others. And Linnell, tell us a little bit about those things.
Yes, I'm kind of borrowing on the team aspect that we were talking about. We have some other services that we offer in addition to our hospice care. We have a bereavement program. Our chaplain who's on staff, he holds bereavement groups with people who've lost a child or a spouse or a significant other or any family member close to them. Anybody in the community can come to these, whether they were on our service or not. And we also have a relationship with the Beaufort County School District, and we go into schools and do group sessions with children. A lot of times this is their first experience with a loss, and it's very important that we help work with them through their feelings. And our chaplain works with trained facilitators who are volunteers. They go into the schools during school hours so the parents don't have to worry about taking them out of school. And we do 6-week sessions with them.
Oh, that's great. That's a great resource.
We also do a one-day camp, Camp Caroline, with those children. We did it in the summer this year, and it's just a day where we can do little sessions with them, but also throw in some things like a eco tour and a boat ride and things like that.
Oh, wonderful.
keep their mind off their problems.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
of course.
exactly.
And what a wonderful place to do that here in the Low Country, to get out in nature and get their mind off of things.
Yes.
Our social worker works with the families. She might help if if there's a concern about what's going to happen with a family member after a patient passes, she will do some research and help if it's housing somebody needs or financial aid or something. She goes and she does the research and works with the family and keeps in touch with them after to make sure there's anything else that we need.
It's wonderful follow-up, because a lot of times you think you're not just concerned about the patient, and when they unfortunately pass on, that's it. You follow up with the family, because there's so much that family's going to need supported.
Exactly.
And to get through that time. So wonderful things.
And all of this, of course, like we said, is of no charge. This is where our fundraisers and our donors come in and help. And we also have a palliative care program, and that's different than hospice. Palliative care is actually going to be a term that you'll hear more and more in the future, and Dr. Kruger can kind of explain the difference between palliative care and hospice care.
I think you're bringing up a good point as to where the direction of medicine almost everywhere in the United States is going to be going. But palliative care is really designed for patients who have approximately 2 years or so to live with a very severe chronic illness that has maxed out with any form of acute invasive medical care. And it allows the patient to stay home and have the team come visit them perhaps once a month to see how they're progressing, to see what their needs might be. It saves them from having to go to the emergency room or to the doctor's office several times a month. It also keeps the caregivers who may be still trying to work, letting them stay at work. It also keeps someone on a wheelchair or in a wheelchair or on a stretcher from having to be carried into a medical facility around other sick people to get maybe a blood pressure adjustment or a change in their medication. And that can be readily done in the home on an outpatient basis with a team approach to working with that patient. And it also cuts down the number of readmissions to the hospital. And that's a very valuable part that we are able to offer here through Friends of Caroline. That basically flows into hospice care. And hospice care is more for the active decline of a patient, roughly 6 months expectant of survival. But there are still things that can be done in that period of time, particularly controlling pain. And it is amazing the number of people, whether it be Beaufort or around the nation, who have loved ones dying in pain and are unable to get the pain controlled. And an educational plug that I want to add to that is that a patient who is chronically declining, or another way to put it, dying in the active dying process, is having pain. It's escalating pain. It's crescendoing pain. And not to have it controlled really takes away their ability to focus and love on their family members around them. It's not like having a broken leg and having acute pain and it resides. It keeps going up. And this was why having a hospice team approach to support the pain, the anxiety that goes along with passing makes us unique.
Sure, absolutely.
And a lot of times they start to feel better once we come in, because they're getting the proper care, they're getting their medication adjusted, and just that relief to know that they have someone on their side to help out.
Sure. Now, we were talking before we started, and you told me you've been here 20 years.
Yes, I have.
That's wonderful. So there's obviously, you've seen a lot of history, you've been through a lot of things. Share us a few highlights for you. What keeps you here so long?
Well, I started off as a certified nursing assistant, and that's just my passion. I love caring for the ill. I'm just a natural born caregiver. But again, I'm getting older, so it's a physical thing, so I decided I needed to do something a little different. So I was a little worried coming in as the office manager that I wouldn't have that clinical side, but actually I'm still able to help. Most of the time I'm answering the phones, so I will hear that urgency in their voice that they need help, and I'm there to help guide them. So I'm still able to give some type of clinical care. So it's been awesome working with such a fabulous team.
Well, there's so much to learn, and this has been very educational, which is a big part of what's needed. So you all stay right here. We're going to be talking about some events they've got coming up here on 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. We are talking with the folks here at Friends of Caroline, which is hospice, and it's located in Port Royal, and they're helping folks all over the Beaufort area and beyond. And we've been learning a lot of things, and you all provide these services to folks in need at no cost to them. But of course, you've got to do some things to have the funding to do it. And coming up in December, which sounds like a long time away, but it's not, Festival of Trees, a great event for you all. Let's talk a little bit about that now. First of all, tell us what that is.
So Festival of Trees is actually in its 31st year, is an event where businesses and organizations, and this year we're adding families, can sponsor trees and decorate them. And then it's just a beautiful sight for the community to come in and just take a stroll through the trees. We'll have anywhere from 60 to 75 trees set up in Tabby Place in downtown Beaufort, of different themes by different businesses and organizations, and they'll be able just to walk through. There is some judging that goes on, and we have different events during. The schools will come in and do tours, Santa will be there, Anna and Elsa from Frozen will be there.
Oh wow,
yes.
The kids are going to come for that.
Yes, we have a snow day for the kids, so we have snow brought, our own man-made snow brought in for the kids to play in. And then we have a gala towards the end of the week, and it's just an evening event with some music, and local restaurants come in, and we'll have some libations for people to come in, and basically we'll have a party amongst the trees. And we'll end the weekend with a 5K run right here in Port Royal. So the event starts with Snow Day, December 2nd, which is a Sunday. We'll have viewing of the trees throughout the week. The gala is on Thursday, December 6th, and our 5K run is on December 8th. And the trees are also available for purchase at the end.
Right.
And so it's a great way to donate to Friends of Caroline Hospice and purchase a tree and take home, and you don't have to worry about that stress of it. The tree's already decorated and ready for you.
So it's time now to get the trees decorated, and to think about, if you're thinking about being a sponsor, you've got to start thinking about your theme now, because it takes some time to get this together. How do people get started? Who do they contact?
They can call our office, which is 843-525-6257, and they can just mention that they're interested in sponsoring a tree. They can also go to our website. The sponsorship form is there, and they fill that out. They send in their sponsorship form. On the form they choose if they want to decorate and purchase their tree, or if they just want to sponsor and decorate their tree. And then we send them all the rules and regulations, and Monday of that week is decorating day, and this gives, I've talked to businesses already that they plan all year how their tree, what their tree is going to look like.
Contests amongst each other, you know, who can do that. I'll do the business or the rival business who can do the best tree.
Yes, exactly. And the trees are 7 to 8 feet. And
there are
beautiful.
big trees. Typically they're the small tabletops, but these are large trees.
Yes, they're 7 to 8 foot trees. And we'll have maybe 10 to 15 4 to 5 foot trees. That's new this year. Families will be able to purchase and decorate these. And then of course we'll have one large tree for our presenting sponsor, which is Beaufort Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
And it's just a wonderful kickoff to the holiday season.
Yes, absolutely. You mentioned there's the 5K run, so tell us a little more about how to get involved and who can participate.
So the second annual Gingerbread 5K will be Saturday, December 8th, right here in Port Royal. We'll start at Live Oak Park. Grounded Running is our sponsor and timer of this event, and they can go to our website and like us on Facebook, and we'll start putting the sign up on there soon where you can sign up, and you can run, you can walk. We encourage costumes. It's nice to see toy soldiers and reindeer running down the road.
Probably can't run too well in those, but yeah.
And it's just last year was our first year, and it was a great event, and it's a perfect time of year. The weather's perfect for a nice run that time of year.
Certainly is, and to walk off that holiday extra pounds that you might be accruing at the same time too. So there's those events, and you've got the thrift shop that's open all year. Do one of you help with facilitating that?
Yes, the thrift shop is also a wonderful opportunity to give, because we also have a truck. So we will take anything from furniture, gently used clothing, and all you have to do is call the thrift store, and the number for that is 843-525-9430. And we'll come out and pick it up.
Yeah, great. And of course, it's tax deduction for those folks.
Yes,
so they
ma'am. Yes, it is.
Easily call and don't have to get rid of it and get a tax deduction, and goes to a great cause. So that's a couple of wins there in a row. Any other things you do special throughout the year to help out?
Our annual barbecue event is in February. It's Spam, Brews, and Barbecue. It's held right here in Port Royal on Paris Avenue. It is sanctioned by South Carolina Barbecue Association. So teams throughout the state, I believe we have about 30 barbecue teams, come out, and on Friday night we'll do a wing competition, and then Boston Butts on Saturday. And this year we're adding a kids competition, and so we're still ironing out the details on that, but we're excited to be able to have that. And then it's great food.
Really great food.
Yes, and it's tastings. It's a barbecue event, so you get a couple of wings with your little $1 ticket or a sample of barbecue, and it's just a great community event. And it's in February when not much else is going on, so it provides an opportunity for the community to get together.
Wonderful.
And April, the women love this event. It's our Fashion for Compassion. It's a fashion show that'll be in Tabby Place in downtown Beaufort, and our local retailers get together and pull their best outfits and bring some models down, and they walk the runway, and they'll auction off outfits on the spot, and people will walk, and it's just a great fundraiser for us. It's a fun night. It's a fun girls' night.
Yes.
Well, we've enjoyed learning. I've enjoyed learning all about your organization and just the importance that it is to so many people. So thank you all for sharing today, and thank you all for watching this episode of 843 TV, where communities come to speak.